Well, hello, my Algebros. Here we go. As promised, I'm going to go over the quiz and the homework to help you as you are trying to do it at home. So first, I'm just going to go over the quiz questions real quick. I have B that I'm going through first. And we did this one in class. First, we factored, and then we saw that the second equation to get a common factor needed the x minus 5. So, of course, we distribute to that. We combine our like terms and we get our answer here. There's no reducing, so we're done. On the A version, the same exact thing. I factor the first one, getting x minus 3x plus 3. And I can see that the second equation to get a common denominator is missing the x minus 3. So I multiply that to the top and the bottom. And then I combine my like terms, getting my final answer, right? On number 2, I see it's a subtraction problem to start with, so I have to distribute the -1 to the 2. The first thing I need to do. Then I factor, see what's missing, and I go ahead and distribute, and this time I'm distributing a -2, which obviously would change the answer when I combine our like terms. And again, there's no simplifying this. On the B version, I do the same thing. I need to see that it's a negative, so I have to distribute that to make it an addition. I factor to see what is missing, and I multiply the top and bottom by that, and I finally combine my like terms. Again, we did these couple of questions in class, right? Okay. Then we get to number 3 on your quiz. In order to factor this, first I see it's a subtraction, so I have to distribute that -1, changing it. And then I use Xbox to find the 2 factors, and I see that the second equation is going to be missing x minus 5, so I multiply the top and the bottom by x minus 5. I have to distribute a -4 to that, so I get -4x plus 20, and I check to see if I can combine these like terms, and I can, and I get 3x plus 20, not factorable, and I'm done. For the B version, same idea, distribute the negative first, use Xbox to factor, find that the second term is missing and x minus 3, multiply the top by that, and combine my like terms to get 5x minus 18 all over that common denominator. Number 4, again, is a subtraction for both of these. At this time when I do this, I decide to go ahead and take a GCF out first, right? When I do this, then I see what it's missing. Same with the other one, I factor out. So the first value is on the A version is missing an x plus 5, on the B version it's missing x plus 4. And we're gonna go ahead and multiply that to the top and the bottom, right? Top and the bottom. So then, when I go to do the second part of this equation, I see that it is a subtraction problem. So just like before, I have to change it to addition. When I do that, I distribute a -1. So it's -x and -8 on top. And on number 4, on the B version, distribute it, getting -x and -9. Now I go ahead and distribute that down here, and I combine my like terms. Right? And I combine my like terms. You can't factor any of these, so that you are done. On the A version for this last question that was on the quiz part, I see that it is again a negative, so I have to distribute that. And I factor using Xbox, and I find that the first term is missing the x plus 3. So I multiply that to the bottom and the top, and I have to subtract an x and add a 2. This was a big problem for a lot of people. They saw the answer key and thought it was one thing and made an assumption that it must be 7x, but it can't be because 6 minus 1 is 5. So we have to trust our mind and our math on that and keep following the process, right? And then 18 plus 2 is 20. And I'm looking like there's no solution because I factor out a GCF of 5, getting x plus 4, and then I see that factor I can factor out, getting the final answer of 5 over x plus 3. Sorry, I'm talking really fast, but there's so many problems to go through, and I don't want the video to take forever to load. All right. You can always slow it down, right? Do it half time. On number 5, again, a subtraction. We need to distribute a -1. I use Xbox to find that the x plus 2 is what's missing, and I multiply that to the first equation, distribute that 3 to it, and I take away an x and I add an 8. When I combine these like terms, I end up with 2x plus 14, not 4x, not 5x, but I have to do the math correctly, right? And I just notice I just have one more step to do. I take out a GCF, and that means I can eliminate the x plus 7 on both and get 2 over x plus 2. Okay, on to the homework questions. On the A version, we have this problem, and I first see that it's a negative. First, I wrote it in the right order, and I took out a -1 so it matches. So it means I have to multiply the top by -1. When I do that, I can see that I have a difference of 2 squares, right? All over this common denominator of 2k minus 5, but I'm just going to go ahead now and take out a GCF. Factoring out the k minus 5, leaving me with k plus 5 over 2. On the B version, the same idea. Down here, I see that it's not in order, so I can rewrite it in standard form, getting that negative 3k, and that means I can factor out a -1 and distribute that upstairs. Then I end up with a difference of 2 squares with the k squared minus 16 and get plus 4 minus 4, and I take a GCF out down below and take out that k plus 4. That's our first tricky one. On to number 7, I see that again I have to subtract here, so I'm going to distribute the negative. And this time the common denominator isn't anything except multiplying to each other. So for the second equation, I multiply the first, and the first equation I multiplied the second. Then I have to distribute, and I distribute a -4, make sure you watch that math, all over our common denominator, which we got was 3k minus 8 times k plus 2. I combine these like terms, and I have my common denominator. It's not factorable, so I'm done. Number 7, on the B version, again, I distribute a negative, and I have to multiply one to the other in order to have a common denominator because there's nothing that's the same. So then I use my distributive property and have my common denominator, and then I combine my like terms all over that common denominator. Which brings me to number 8. Number 8 is when I have the same situation, when I do not have a value that is the same, so I have to multiply them to each other. We have an addition situation, so it's not like I'm doing any distributing of a negative number. Now the tricky thing about number 8 is that when I go ahead and distribute to one number to a binomial, that's one thing. But if I have a binomial times a binomial, I have to use a box FOIL stack. So I distribute the 3, but with k plus 4 times k plus 4, I need to use box. K plus 4 gives me k squared, and 4x, and 16. So I have k squared plus 8k plus 16. So I have to combine that in here and combine my like terms, and I get my final answer. Same thing on the B version. I distribute, but on the next one, k plus 3 times k plus 3 is a box FOIL stack. I used box, and end up with k squared plus 6k plus 9. I combine my like terms, and I get my answer. Which brings us to number 9. Number 9 is the subtraction, very similar but not the same, where I have to subtract, so I have to distribute that -1 right there to negative k and -4. So that's going to change that when I do that box FOIL stack. Because I have a negative k and a -4, I'll have negative k squared and -4k and -4k and -16. When I combine those like terms, I get negative k squared minus 8k minus 16 all over that common denominator. And then I go ahead and combine my like terms, negative k squared plus 7k minus 19 all over that denominator. On the B version, it's the same, changing it to be a addition problem, distributing a -1, and I have to multiply it by each other. So again, I get to distribute on the first factor 2 times the 8k minus 1, but on the second, I need to use a box FOIL or stack with a -k and a -3 and a k plus 3. I put those terms here, negative k squared minus 6k plus, minus 9, and I combine my like terms. And I'm done. You could tell because the answers are on the key, right? So then I slow it down a little bit for number 10. Here I have another subtraction problem where I'm going to go ahead and Xbox the bottom to see what I'm going to be looking at here. And I can see the second equation has to be multiplied by k minus 5. I distribute my -1 and I head off to do box on that. Negative k minus 2 times k minus 5 gives me negative k squared plus 3k plus 10. I have to add that to my k squared minus 13. And so now I'm just combining my like terms. And if I have k squared minus a k squared, I'll get no more k squareds. And then 3k, it doesn't have anything to combine to. And negative 13 plus 10 is negative 3. All over k minus 1, k minus 5. Then I can take out a GCF of 3 at the top, canceling out that k minus 1, I get my final answer. Lastly, the A version of number 10, it's a subtraction problem again. And I'm going to need to distribute that -1. I go ahead and do Xbox to find out what my factors are, and they're going to be -1 and -7. The second equation is missing k minus 7, so I box that out, getting my negative k squared plus 5k plus 14, and combining that to my k squared minus 19. All over k minus 1, k minus 7. I combine my like terms. If I have a k squared and I take one away, I don't have any more. So then I just end up with 5k minus 5, because negative 19 plus 14 is negative 5. All over my common denominator. And then I take out a GCF of 5, letting me eliminate the k minus 1. I end up with 5 over k minus 7. I hope this has been helpful for you. I know I'm talking really fast just to get it all done and get it out to you guys. But we will go over these in class tomorrow and talk about some long divisions. And then we will move ahead and switch over to our radicals. So see you tomorrow. Have a great night.